How often do you think about your life, your whole life, and all the things that have caused you stress? A few weeks ago, we talked to a Chattanooga Police lieutenant about a program they use to help officers manage all the stress they experience in the course of a career of police work. Tonight, we revisit that story and sit in on a class they call Blue Trauma.
Us as police officers, how are we doing? There's perceptions out there, and I get the perceptions.
CPD Lieutenant Danny Jones has been teaching this class for about a year.
We want them to think about some of the stuff that they have seen and the stuff that they've gone through. The other part about getting the community members and allowing them to see this and hear this, it allows them to actually hear the life and story of a cop.
In this class, CPD officers, some folks from the Sheriff's Department, and other community members. Lieutenant Jones paints an illustration with a big blue bucket.
I can hold this over the top of my head, no problems, no issues.
The point he makes, the more stressors you go through in life, the heavier the bucket gets. He starts with a story about meeting with a school psychologist. Jones says he struggled reading because he was dyslexic.
But see, the only thing I remember is that school psychologist say I would be nothing but a failure. And that's going to come to play, and that goes in my bucket.
Jones is a Marine Corps veteran with 3 deployments. He said all of the Marines with him made it back home.
After we get home, I've lost 8 of my Marines. 8 to suicide.
That number grew to 9 just days after this talk. Jones says he's had a lot of hard days on the job. He talks about the phone call he received on April 2nd, 2011.
He says, "Hey, have you heard?" What do you mean, what have I heard? He said, "Sergeant Tim Chapin has just been shot and killed." No, not Tim. No, he's just been shot and killed. This is a particularly hard week for me because that Friday that we buried Tim is also the same day that I found out that my wife also has lupus.
On July 16, 2015, he says he was in Decatur, Tennessee, when he gets a page that there's been a shooting.
I was every bit of about 35 minutes late to the party.
4 Marines and a Navy sailor were shot and killed that day in the same reserve center where Jones used to lead Marines. He says when he got there, it was hard to process what he was seeing. He had to leave the area of where the terrorist attack happened.
Here's the sad part. My team needed me that day. My SWAT team needed me that day, and I let them down. And unfortunately, it literally sent me to a very, very, very dark place. And fortunately, I've gotten help since, and things have gotten a whole lot better.
Jones says by talking about his struggles, it may help others identify the thing they're struggling with and hopefully get help.
This conversation allows them to really identify the rock and then be able to bring that rock out of the bucket.
And full disclosure here, there were some parts of the presentation they asked us not to show in this story for several reasons, including considering the other people involved in those stories. And Danny Jones says this class has been successful and has led several people in our community to get the help that they need.